Today in the update, we have Youssef, a renowned Syrian Kanun player, composer, and educator. In 2012, Maya was recognized by the Arts Council of England as an exceptional talent. Aside from her musicianship, Maya also holds a bachelor's degree in English from the University of Damascus and is playing an active role in helping Syrian refugee children. Maya, welcome to Lashat, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You said that at 9 years of age, you began your lifelong career with the Kanun. Did you know then and there that a career in music is what you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, it was my childhood dream, actually, to just go on to the high city of music. And I really feel that the instrument chose me rather than me choosing it. I was very dedicated to it anyway. Then in 2008, it became very clear that I'm just going to do this for life.
You often mention the taxi driver who tried to discourage you from playing the Kanun because it was perceived to be an instrument for men.
Yes.
In your opinion, do men and women have equal opportunities to follow their passion and succeed in the field of music?
Yes, of course. Everybody has the right to access any musical instrument. Sound and music is something very visceral and something very kinesthetic, and you cannot put a masculine, feminine label on it at all. This is really does not make sense at all. And I'm really glad to see that there are many female Kanun players are emerging from different parts of the Arab world now. So there is a shift in that. It's not as restrictive, but still there is a huge difference. So there are 7% female Kanun players, while the rest is male.
Do you still feel that gender stereotypes exist around musical instruments?
If an instrument speaks to you, to your heart, yeah, you need to follow it, but it's also it's something so dependent on your cultural surrounding. For instance, if I wouldn't have my parents who are very supportive, and if they were like, for instance, traditional parents, they would say no Kanun for you. So that would be really dependent on your surroundings. I was so fortunate to have the most supportive parents and the perfect musical environment to grow up with.
Now, you're currently working on a PhD under the title A Practical Intervention, an Improved Musical Approach to Working with Syrian Children at the Refugee Camps. Can you please tell us more about your work and how it began?
Yes. I started working for a theatre production company in the UK called Oily Cart. It basically dedicates its work only for children with autism and for children with profound and multiple learning disabilities. And the whole thing started because I was at the rehearsals. I was at the early stage, and there was this girl brought in to us. She was in a wheelchair. We were told that she was unresponsive to anything, not to expect anything. And basically, when I was playing the Kanun, and the show is called Bounce, so she was brought into a trampoline and she lost her body. So she was floating, and at that moment of just openness and flow and her being really connected to the music, she started giggling, which was really a miracle. I mean, her mother was in tears and everybody was in awe. That moment it hit me that, okay, I need to take this back, because I already had the nagging question that what can I do? I mean, it was lovely to perform for fundraising events, but it wasn't enough for me. So I put a PhD application at SOAS University of London, where I'm also teaching, and I'm on my second year part-time, and I'm actually now having a partnership with Oily Cart themselves. They are helping me to create a small workshop or small show, if you would like to call it that way, to take it to the refugee camps, and it will be more of an interactive workshop where we can hopefully peel at least 1% of the layers of trauma, because music just speaks to you in the most unlogical and most visceral way, and you need that in front of all of this trauma and all of this pain. You just need something to speak to your heart. So that would be a perfect thing to do, and I'm really looking forward to go there next year, actually. Yeah, that's going to be my first time, so yeah.
That's good to hear. As we all know, Syria is a country that is rich in history. However, the conflicts do pose a threat to the cultural heritage of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Syrian artists like yourself can do to ensure that Syrian culture, whether it be art, music, and more, will not perish?
My whole perspective of my music just completely changed after the war. I started feeling very responsible because also I play a very traditional instrument, and it has been described constantly as the visceral sound of home. When people, especially when Syrians hear it, they'll say, you brought us back home." And so with that comes great responsibility, but at the same time, I'm just being true to myself. So I am rooted in this ancient tradition of Syrian music, which goes down thousand of years. But at the same time, I am free to expand and to basically explore different types of music. So, for instance, so I am true to my heritage, and at the same time, I'm true to myself because I'm very cosmopolitan, and my musical upbringing is very compound and very complex. So I'm doing both, which is I found that a good balance. But at the same time, it's important for people to hear that Syria is not only about war. Don't put it in that small box. And music speaks that in the best way.
Finally, what advice would you give to aspiring professional musicians who are perhaps questioning the amount of dedication they're willing to put forward, and maybe even the financial prospects of a career in music?
I've had my doubts. There was actually, I mentioned 2008, but before that I had a crisis. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I just was like almost going to give up. And I didn't give up. And actually that was the best decision not to do. And you just have to be true to yourself. And if you feel a calling to do something professionally, then you just need to follow your heart, and the hows and wheres, and they will figure themselves out. Everything will unfold. So surrender to that process. I mean, we don't know everything, but if you're true to your heart and you really love your music and you're dedicated to it, I'm sure your journey will unfold in beautiful ways.
Wise words. Maya, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure.